Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking the groundbreaking fMRI research from Martin Lindstrom's book Buyology and turning it into a literal, step-by-step campaign playbook for modern marketers and business owners. So if you've ever found yourself wondering what is actually going on inside a consumer's brain the exact moment they decide to open their wallet, well, you are absolutely in the right place. Let's dive right in.
Let's kick things off with a scenario that should honestly keep any marketing executive up at night. Why on earth did Ford blow $26 million on American Idol only to end up actually losing market share? I mean, it sounds impossible, right? They ran countless high-production commercials during one of the highest-rated shows in television history. They reached millions and millions of viewers. And yet, after the show aired, viewers remembered less about Ford than they did before they even turned on the TV. It was a spectacular, very expensive failure of a traditional marketing bet. To understand why this happened, we've got to look at a pretty staggering piece of data.
90%. That is the chunk of consumer buying behavior that is entirely, completely unconscious. Think about that. When you put a consumer in a focus group and ask them, hey, why did you buy this product? They're really just giving you a rationalization after the fact. Traditional focus groups and surveys, they're kind of broken. We're asking the conscious mind to explain subconscious decisions. Consumers honestly don't know why they prefer one brand over another, but their brains definitely do.
So how do we actually market to that unconscious mind? Well, here is our playbook for today. First, the paradigm shift. Second, seamless narrative integration. Third, engineering brand rituals. Fourth, planting somatic markers. And finally, future trends and ethics.
All right, starting with step one, the paradigm shift. This is the biology of buying.
Look, traditional marketing relies on just asking people what they want. But neuromarketing, it uses advanced tools like fMRI and SST brain scans to literally see what they crave. It's kind of like a giant Venn diagram. If traditional quantitative and qualitative research are those first two overlapping circles, neuromarketing is that absolutely vital third circle. It's the missing link. It bridges the gap between what people say they'll do and what their brain is actually screaming out for.
And Lindstrom's research gives us 4 really concrete, actionable phases for our new campaign playbook: narrative integration, building brand rituals, planting somatic markers, and finally, future-proofing your whole strategy.
Moving right into step two, seamless narrative integration. Let's look at that massive American Idol study.
Okay, let's unpack that cold open and compare the strategies. Ford and Coca-Cola dropped the exact same stupendous amount of cash, about $26 million a year. But Ford? They just ran traditional commercials during the ad breaks. They didn't integrate into the show at all. And the result? The brain literally blocked it out as white noise. Actually, it's crazier than that. Watching the Coke-saturated show actually suppressed the subject's memories of the Ford ads. Meanwhile, Coke wove their brand directly into the very fabric of the show's storyline. The judges sat on couches shaped like Coke bottles, the walls were Coke red, the contestants held Coke cups. The brain scan results showed massive memory retention because Coke associated itself with the dreams, the aspirations, and the high emotions of the contestants. Ford was literally just an interruption about tires and gas.
The big takeaway here? Integration over interruption. For your next campaign to truly resonate, your brand has to play an integral role in the narrative. If you're just paying for an ad slot to interrupt the content a customer actually wants to see, you're basically watching your marketing dollars evaporate. The research is crystal clear. You have to weave the product into the story the customer is experiencing. You want to be the enabler of their aspirations, not a roadblock to their entertainment.
Which brings us to step 3, engineer brand rituals, cultivating cult-like loyalty.
Get this, Lindstrom discovered that the human brain reacts to powerful ritualistic brands almost exactly the same way it reacts to religious and spiritual symbols. I mean, no way, right? But think about it. A sense of belonging, a clear vision, sensory appeal, storytelling, rituals, symbols. These are the foundational pillars of the world's major faiths, for sure. But they are also the exact same pillars used by mega brands like Apple or Harley-Davidson. They aren't just selling you a phone or a motorcycle, they are selling a community and a deeply shared set of rituals.
So let's translate this into a relatable business analogy. We live in this increasingly standardized, kind of sterilized world, right? You drive past the exact same strip malls with the exact same chain stores everywhere you go. In this chaotic, fast-moving environment, creating a brand ritual provides your consumers with this sticky, comforting illusion of belonging and stability. Think about the very specific, almost sacred way you unbox a new Apple product, or the highly customized, unique language you use to order a Starbucks coffee. That is a ritual. It transforms a simple, everyday transaction into an emotional connection. And honestly, if a brand doesn't have a ritual, it's pretty much just a commodity.
Now for step 4, plant somatic markers. These are your subconscious shortcuts.
So somatic markers might sound like some heavy brain science term. It was actually coined by neuroscientist Antonio Damasio, but it's essentially just a subconscious shortcut based on past experiences of reward and punishment. To survive absolute information overload, our brains create these little bookmarks to instantly tell us if something is good or bad, safe or dangerous, without us having to consciously think about it at all. According to the research, a marketer's ultimate goal is to plant one of these somatic markers so it instantly connects a product to a powerful emotion.
So how do we actually plant these things? Well, 2 of the most effective ways are humor and fear. Think of that Lamisil ad for foot fungus. They anthropomorphize the germ into this funny yellow cartoon gremlin lifting up a toenail. It's gross, but it's humorous, and it creates a highly memorable shortcut linking their pill to powerful germ fighting. On the flip side, we have fear. Take Johnson's No More Tears baby shampoo. That marketing evokes the visceral, lifelong fear of getting stinging shampoo in your eyes, something that hurts literally no matter how old you are. By promising to prevent that pain, they plant a somatic marker deeply rooted in our instinct to avoid punishment. As a marketer, you have to decide which emotional shortcut your campaign is going to trigger.
And finally, step 5, future trends and ethics. Let's look at where all of this is heading.
The first major trend we're going to see is a huge rise in fear-driven marketing. Lindstrom's research predicts that advertising is going to increasingly rely on those fear-driven somatic markers. We already see this used heavily in political campaigns, where playing on a voter's fear is statistically proven to move the needle. Well, in the commercial sector, brands are going to increasingly try to make us believe that not buying their product makes us less safe, or less happy, or less in control. From software promising to save your entire life's work from a catastrophic hard drive crash, to toothpaste warning you that gum disease causes strokes. Fear works, simply because it's what our primitive brains are hardwired to remember. Another huge shift? Personal brands. As traditional commercials become more and more like white noise, companies are going to rely heavily on larger-than-life characters to cut through the clutter. Think of Richard Branson. He's less of a traditional business tycoon and way more of a living, breathing brand. Whether he's kite surfing or talking about rocketing into space, he creates real human connections and garners massive free publicity. In the future, building authentic, slightly eccentric human characters is going to be absolutely vital to humanizing corporate entities and actually capturing consumer attention.
So here's the million-dollar question. Now that you have the literal map to the subconscious mind, how are you going to use it? We've seen how integrating into narratives, building brand rituals, and planting emotional somatic markers can bypass the conscious mind entirely. It's an incredibly powerful playbook, right? But as consumers get savvier and more aware of these neuromarketing tricks, executives have to figure out how they want to navigate this new frontier. Is it going to be used to manipulate, or will it be used ethically to genuinely enhance the lives of customers by providing products they truly love? The choice, and ultimately the future of the brand, is completely up to you. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.
Subscribe for more actionable executive summaries, and if you want deeper insights and exclusive content, support the channel on Patreon. You'll find the link in the description.